The scariest level of energy a man can have is not rage. Rage is loud. Rage shakes. Rage needs witnesses. It tells the room, I am no longer in command of myself. The energy people actually feel in their body is different. It belongs to the man who does not raise his voice when pressure enters the room, the man whose face does not chase reaction. His body looks calm, but somehow does not feel soft. Nothing in him is begging to be seen as dangerous. Nothing in him is trying to prove he is not afraid. That makes him hard to read. In old Japanese martial language, there was a word for killing energy, sakki, the atmosphere of bloodlust, the sense that someone's mind has already moved toward violence before their body does. Most men think that is the highest state. It is not. Bloodlust is still a form of lielso known osge. It may frighten weak people, but to a trained eye, it exposes the person carrying it. Anger gives away direction. Hatred gives away timing. Fear gives away need. The man burning with aggression is not hidden. He is broadcasting himself. The more disturbing state is colder. In some Japanese martial traditions, this idea was tested through a severe image. A student sits kneeling, eyes closed. Behind him stands a teacher holding a sword or training weapon. The student is not supposed to wait for sound, not for footsteps, not for the movement of air, not for a visible signal. He has to move before the strike reaches him. Whether someone treats that as mystical, psychological, or purely traditional, the image points at something real. Under threat, the body often knows before the ego can explain. Your pride wants clean reasons. Your nervous system wants survival. The ancient method begins there, not with becoming more aggressive, but with becoming harder to disturb. Pressure does not attack your strength first. It attacks your rhythm. It changes your breathing. It pulls your eyes toward the threat. It makes your shoulders rise. It makes your hands move before your mind is chosen. It takes your attention and nails it to one point. A loud man looks dangerous because he fills the room. A still man feels dangerous because the room cannot find where he is leaking. This is the first uncomfortable reversal. The beginner leaks killing intent. The unstable man leaks fear. The insecure man leaks performance. The angry man leaks his wound. Even when he looks strong, his body is giving away too much. The higher state is not sakki as bloodlust. It is closer to capability without attachment, not the desire to harm, not the fantasy of being feared, and not the childish thrill of intimidation. Just the cold fact that the body is ready, the mind is clear, and the ego is not in the way. That kind of energy does not ask for reaction. It creates pressure by not needing one. You have seen the opposite everywhere. A man gets challenged and his voice jumps. Someone disrespects him, and his eyes start hunting for approval from the room. A small insult lands, and suddenly his whole body has to answer. He may call it pride. He may call it confidence. His nervous system is telling the truth. He is not choosing. He is being pulled. Under real stress, the body has its own language. The heart speeds up. Breath gets shallow. Fine control begins to break. Vision narrows. Hearing changes. Thought becomes blunt. The body prepares to survive, but it also starts losing precision. Panic is loud even when the mouth is silent. It shows in the neck, in the eyes, in the breath. It shows in the need to move first, in the need to explain, and in the need to win the emotional moment before the actual moment has even arrived. The scariest energy is the opposite. It is not relaxation. Do not confuse calm with softness. A man can look calm because nothing is happening inside him. That is not the state we are talking about. The higher state is loaded calm. The body is awake, but not chaotic. The system is alert, but not spilling everywhere. The engine is running, but the wheels are not spinning uselessly in the dirt. Modern language would describe part of this through nervous system regulation. In danger, the sympathetic system prepares the body for action. When that force floods the whole person unchecked, the body becomes reactive. The old martial problem was never simply how to create more intensity. Any fool can become intense. The problem was how to carry intensity without being owned by it. Here's where the ancient idea becomes uncomfortable for modern men. Most people do not lack energy. They lack command. They can get angry. They can get excited. They can get obsessed. They can get defensive. They can talk loudly about discipline, purpose, respect, and power. Place them under pressure, and their system starts confessing. A man who has command does not need to be empty because he is weak. He becomes empty because extra emotion slows the blade. In Japanese martial thought, one of the deepest words around this state is fudoshin, often translated as the immovable mind. The phrase is easy to misunderstand. Immovable does not mean stiff. A stiff mind is fragile. It grabs one thought and refuses to release it. It locks onto the insult, the weapon, the risk, the embarrassment, the outcome. It becomes hard in the way dry wood is hard, right before it snaps. The immovable mind is different. It does not stop. It moves from one perception to the next without getting trapped. It sees the threat, but does not worship it. It feels fear, but does not build a house inside it. It notices the opponent, the room, the body, the timing, the breath, and then keeps moving. The weak mind gets captured. The trained mind passes through. That single difference can decide everything. A warrior who stops on fear is no longer seeing the full situation. A man who stops on doubt begins fighting himself before anyone else touches him. A man who stops on surprise loses the thread of the moment. A man who stops on fascination, on anger, on humiliation, on the other person's face is no longer free. The old martial traditions describe these traps as sicknesses of the mind: fear, doubt, surprise, and captivation. Do not treat those like antique words. They are not dead. Fear is when you start negotiating with the possibility of pain before anything has happened. Doubt is when 10 choices freeze you because you have not trained one clean response. Surprise is when reality breaks the picture you were emotionally attached to. Captivation is when one detail steals your whole attention: the blade in front of you, the insult in the room, the message you keep rereading, the face of someone judging you, the imagined loss of status. Different battlefield, same capture. A man does not need to be in a duel to lose his center. He can lose it in a conversation, in an argument, in a business room, in silence, in rejection, in a single moment where his ego gets touched, and suddenly his entire body becomes a puppet. This ancient idea still hits because it is not only about combat. The scariest energy is not about hurting people. It is about not becoming available for manipulation. If fear can steer you, you are not steady. If anger can steer you, you are not steady. If praise can steer you, you are not steady. If humiliation can make you abandon your posture, your breath, your values, or your judgment, then your energy is not yours yet. It belongs to whatever can move you. This is where the image of fudo becomes more than decoration. In Japanese esoteric Buddhist imagery, fudo stands firm, surrounded by flames, grounded on rock holding a sword and a rope. Treated respectfully, the image works almost like a psychological diagram. The flames burn illusion. The rock refuses to move. The sword cuts through mental attachment. The rope binds chaotic passion. You do not have to reduce it to modern science. You also do not have to turn it into fantasy. The point is clear enough. There are forces inside a person that must be cut, and there are forces inside a person that must be bound. The sword is not just for an enemy outside you. It is for the thought that keeps freezing you. The rope is not just for someone else's aggression. It is for your own panic, your own performance, your own emotional noise. A man who cannot bind himself will always look for someone else to blame. He will blame the disrespect, the opponent, the room, the pressure, the past, the insult, and the unfairness. He will say, the world made him react that way. Maybe the world applied pressure. Pressure only reveals the places where command is missing. Comfort cannot produce the highest state. Comfort can produce confidence when things are easy. It can produce good posture in a mirror. It can produce nice words, good theories, and a polished self-image. It cannot prove what happens when the body wants to panic and the mind wants to run. The old Japanese ascetic paths understood this in a harsher way. In Shugendo, mountain practitioners known as Yamabushi placed themselves inside cold silence, exhaustion, ritual discipline, and the indifference of nature. Waterfall training, mountain retreats, controlled hardship. These were practices built around stripping away the ordinary ego's demand for comfort. The goal was not fitness in the modern sense. The goal was pressure. Not random suffering, not stupidity, not self-destruction. Pressure with a purpose to expose the part of the self that only works when conditions are friendly. That part is weaker than most men want to admit. Anyone can be calm when the room agrees with him. Anyone can talk about discipline after food, sleep, praise, and comfort. Anyone can imagine himself as controlled when nothing is pulling at his fear. The question is uglier. What remains when the nervous system starts begging? When the cold hits, when the body shakes, when the mind wants a way out, when silence makes your thoughts louder, when no one is watching your performance, and when the mountain does not care about your identity. The ancient method was not trying to make a man dramatic. It was trying to make him real. A man who has never met his own panic cannot know whether his calm is genuine. He only knows that his life has not squeezed him hard enough yet. This is where the title becomes dangerous. The scariest level of energy is not something you can fake with a stare. It is not a voice tone. It is not a slow walk. It is not wearing black, speaking less, or pretending not to care. Those are costumes. Real stillness is expensive. It costs the addiction to reaction. It costs the pleasure of proving yourself. It costs the little emotional rewards you get from anger. It costs the fantasy that intensity and control are the same thing. They are not. Intensity is easy. Control is rare. A man can be intense because he is wounded. He can be intense because he is insecure. He can be intense because he is afraid of being ignored. He can be intense because silence would force him to feel how unstable he really is. Control has a different texture. It does not rush to be seen. It does not chase the opponent's movement. It does not grab every thought. It does not need the room to know how much force it could use. It keeps the sword inside the sheath until the mind is clear enough to know whether the sword is even needed. The next level of this method is not more aggression. It is attention. The man with scary energy is not watching the world like a nervous animal. He is not scanning every corner because he is terrified. He is not paranoid. He is not hunting for disrespect. He is seeing without chasing. That difference matters. A fearful man watches everything because he expects attack. A trained man notices everything because his attention is not trapped. One is survival panic. The other is command. Until that command is built, all the old language becomes nothing but decoration. Sakki becomes fantasy. Fudoshin becomes a cool word. Hara becomes posture theater. Discipline becomes branding. The body will expose the lie anyway. Under pressure, your eyes will move where your mind is captured. Your breath will show where your fear is hiding. Your voice will reveal what your ego needs. Your reaction time will show whether you trained clarity or only collected ideas. Ancient Japanese discipline was never gentle about that. It did not ask what image you wanted. It asked what remained when image was useless. You do not think your way into this state. You get broken out of your old one. And once that old self cracks, the next test is simple. Can your attention stay wide when pressure tries to make it narrow? Most men lose before anything touches them. Their eyes give them away first. The moment pressure appears, their vision starts chasing. They stare at the threat. They lock onto the loudest movement. They track the hand, the face, the weapon, the insult, the expression, the one detail that feels most dangerous. The second the eyes get captured, the mind follows. Musashi made a sharp distinction between two ways of seeing. One kind of eye is weak because it is hungry for detail. It wants to interpret everything. It wants to know what the opponent means, what the movement means, what the face means, what the danger means. That eye feels active. Under pressure, it becomes a trap. The stronger eye observes without chasing. It does not dart around trying to own every detail. It keeps the whole field alive. It looks through the opponent instead of getting hypnotized by one part of him. This matters because fear always wants a single object. Fear says, watch the hand. Ego says, watch the face. Pride says, watch whether they respect you. Command says, see the whole thing. A man whose eyes keep jumping is telling the room that the room has control of him. Something moved, and he moved with it. Something threatened him, and his attention obeyed. Something challenged his image, and his system tightened. The still man does not give that satisfaction. His eyes are not dead. They are not empty in a weak way. They are open without being hungry. He notices without chasing. He receives the moment without getting dragged by it. That kind of gaze creates pressure because it denies the other person an emotional handle. A threat display works only if the other person reacts to it. A fake movement works only if the mind bites. An insult works only if the ego rises to defend itself. A performance works only if someone becomes the audience. Still, attention removes the stage. That is why it feels so unnatural. Most people are easy to move. Raise your voice and they tense. Delay your reply and they spiral. Give them disrespect and they start performing strength. Praise them and they soften. Ignore them and they reach. Their center is outside their body. The ancient Japanese idea of hara cuts straight into this weakness. Hara is the belly, the center, the place below the navel where traditional Japanese thought located physical and spiritual steadiness. Haradi, the art of the gut, is not about mystical dominance. Do not turn it into nonsense. At its sharpest, it means presence that does not need to over-explain itself. A man operating from his head alone can be manipulated by arguments. A man operating from his chest can be manipulated by emotion. A man operating from his image can be manipulated by shame. A man who is dropped into his center becomes harder to pull. His breath is lower. His posture is less negotiable. His silence has weight because it is not a trick. He is not withholding words to seem mysterious. He simply does not need to spend energy proving what is already settled inside him. That is rare now. Modern men talk too much when they are uncomfortable. They explain too much when they are insecure. They defend too quickly when they feel small. They confuse constant expression with honesty, when often it is just lielso-known Ozga with better vocabulary. The gut-centered man does not rush to fill every silence. Silence tests people. When someone cannot tolerate silence, they start revealing the thing they were trying to control. They adjust. They justify. They push. They laugh too hard. They attack. They confess without meaning to. The one forced to speak first is often the one whose center moved first. This is not about playing games. It is not about becoming cold for entertainment. It is about seeing the brutal truth. If your internal state depends on another person's reaction, you are easy to steer. The scariest energy belongs to the man who cannot be steered easily, not because he is numb, because he is anchored. That anchor separates real stillness from the costume of stillness. A weak man can imitate a calm stare. He can slow his voice. He can act mysterious. He can copy the outer shape of discipline. For a while, it may even work on people who do not know the difference. Pressure knows. Pressure does not care about your aesthetic. Pressure does not respect your self-image. Pressure does not care how many quotes you have saved, how many warrior words you know, or how controlled you look in a room where nothing is actually threatening your ego. Pressure asks one question: can you remain whole when something in you wants to fracture? That question followed Yamaoka Teshu. Teshu was physically formidable. He trained in swordsmanship from a young age. He had size, intensity, skill, and a reputation for ferocity. On the outside, he looked like the kind of man most people would mistake for the final form. The final form had not arrived yet. His problem was not lack of force. His problem was that force was still tied to ego. One story captures it cleanly. Teshu once tried to demonstrate his understanding of emptiness to a Zen master. He spoke from the level of ideas, from the mind that can explain deep things without being transformed by them. Then the master struck him with a bamboo pipe. Teshu's anger came up immediately. That was the exposure. The philosophy was in his mouth. The wound was still in his body. A man can speak about emptiness and still be full of himself. He can speak about discipline and still be controlled by insult. He can speak about calm and still be one touch away from reaction. This path is humiliating for exactly that reason. It does not care what you understand intellectually. It only cares what remains when the body is provoked. Later, Teshu faced Asari Gime, a swordmaster whose presence broke something deeper in him. The reports describe a man physically smaller, but inwardly immovable. Teshu could not simply overpower him. Again and again, he was driven back. Again and again, the outer strength failed against something colder and more centered. Imagine what that does to a proud man. Not losing because your muscles are weak. Not losing because you lack courage. Losing because the other man's stillness reveals that your entire force still has desperation inside it. That is a different kind of defeat. Physical defeat bruises the body. Energetic defeat humiliates the identity. Teshu did not need more rage. Rage was already available. He did not need more effort. Effort was already there. He needed to remove the part of himself that kept trying to win from fear, from pride, from mental calculation. For years he trained. Meditation, sword practice, relentless pressure, again and again, the same confrontation with his own mind. Then came the reversal. After long discipline, Teshu entered the dojo and faced Asari again. The quality had changed. The old desperate force was gone. Something in him had become vast, quiet, and difficult to oppose. Asari did not need a long exchange to recognize it. He stepped back. The fight ended before it became a fight. This is one of the deepest payoffs in the entire idea. The highest pressure does not always announce itself through contact. Sometimes it appears as the absence of anything to exploit. No fear to hook, no anger to bait, no pride to steer, no hesitation to enter. Nothing loose, nothing begging, nothing available. The scariest energy is not theatrical. It is not cinematic in the cheap sense. It is not a man screaming under rain with a sword in his hand. It is a man standing there with no emotional opening. Now the anti-pattern becomes important, because there is another kind of dangerous man, the man who is highly capable but never free. Sokaku Takeda represents that contrast. He was a formidable martial artist, deeply influential and undeniably dangerous. The picture around him, though, is not quiet freedom. It is hypervigilance, fear of poison, hidden weapons, constant readiness against betrayal, a life organized around never being vulnerable. That kind of energy is dangerous, but it is not the highest level. It is spiky, exhausting, suspicious. It may intimidate people, but underneath it, the nervous system is still obeying fear. The man is armed, but not settled. Alert, but not free. Lethal, but still chased by the possibility of threat. A paranoid man may look prepared. Often, he is just imprisoned by anticipation. This is the part weak men do not want to hear. Being dangerous is not the same as being mastered. A man can train his body and still be owned by fear. He can collect weapons and still be controlled by imagination. He can win fights and still lose every silent room inside himself. He can make others nervous and still never know peace. The ancient standard cuts deeper than modern masculinity usually dares to go. It does not ask, can you scare people? That is easy. It asks, can you stop needing fear at all? Can you carry force without worshiping it? Can you be ready without becoming paranoid? Can you be calm without becoming passive? Can you be restrained without becoming weak? Can you possess aggression without letting aggression possess you? That is the line. Bloodlust is easy. Hatred is easy. Revenge fantasies are easy. Anyone with a wound can imagine destruction and call it power. The final form is harder. Capability without emotional slavery. Force without performance. Mercy without softness. The old idea of one-strike decisiveness is often misunderstood from the outside. People hear it and imagine brutality. They imagine the thrill of maximum violence. They imagine the fantasy of becoming untouchable. The deeper lesson is not about wanting to strike. It is about becoming so clear that if action is required, nothing extra enters it. No panic, no hatred, no trembling need to prove yourself, no emotional waste, no addiction to escalation, no performance for the crowd. Only decision. That is why mercy becomes part of the scariest energy. Not sentimental mercy, not weakness pretending to be kindness. Mercy that comes from command. A weak man avoids conflict because he fears consequence. A performative man seeks conflict because he fears insignificance. A controlled man does not need either addiction. He can act, or not act, without his ego demanding a reward. That kind of restraint is terrifying because it cannot be easily predicted by manipulation. You cannot bait it with insult. You cannot inflate it with praise. You cannot rush it with panic. You cannot seduce it with drama. It does not move until it chooses to move. The modern world trains the opposite. It trains instant reaction, instant opinion, instant defense, and instant display. Every insult becomes content. Every emotion becomes identity. Every disagreement becomes a stage where people rush to prove they are not weak. So men leak all day, through their eyes, through their voice, through their posture, through their explanations. They leak through their need to be understood by people who have not earned that access. Then they wonder why their energy feels scattered. The ancient Japanese method gives a colder answer. Your energy is scattered because your attention is owned by too many things. Fear owns one part. Approval owns another. Anger owns another. Fantasy owns another. Comfort owns another. Whatever owns your attention owns your body before the body ever moves. The scariest level of energy is what appears when those owners are removed. The man becomes quiet, not because he has nothing inside him, but because what is inside him is finally aligned. His breath is not begging, his gaze is not chasing, his posture is not negotiating. His mind is not stopping on every threat, every insult, every possible outcome. He is not empty like a hollow man, he is empty like a drawn blade waiting inside the sheath. The world can still touch him. He is not stone, he is not dead, he feels pressure, he feels fear, he feels anger. Those forces no longer sit on the throne. That is the difference. Most men are ruled by the strongest feeling in the room. The scariest man is ruled by the deepest command in himself. So the lesson is not become violent. That is the low interpretation. The lesson is not act emotionless. That is the childish version. The lesson is not copy samurai aesthetics. That is costume. The lesson is this: stop leaking your center to everything that touches your ego. Train attention before image. Train breath before speech. train silence before explanation. Train command before intensity. Put yourself under enough honest pressure that the fake calm dies, and something real has to stand in its place. Because the man who must look dangerous is still negotiating. The man who must sound powerful is still asking. The man who must be feared is still dependent. The highest energy does not beg for fear. It does not advertise itself. It does not shake the room to prove it exists. It waits, completely awake, completely restrained, completely unowned. That is why it feels scary, not because it wants violence, but because if the moment ever demands action, there is nothing left inside it to hesitate.